safe to say that we might have ventured over to Cambodia a few times too, right? So culture, Cambodia is very traditional. Their main religion is Buddhism, Hinduism, and so that is kind of what their belief system is based on. That's their majority religion there. So you guys know typically a lot of the statues, right? A lot of the art all over the place, right? In reference to their beliefs in Buddha or Hinduism, right? America, I say freedom because initially, supposedly, according to textbooks, we were a Christian nation. We were Christians that were revolting from England, and we wanted our religious freedom to express our Christianity. But lately, if you look at what's going on in America, it's very far from Christian beliefs. I'm a Christian myself. But I would say freedom. So, you know, whether you're Muslim, Buddhism, or anything else, you can openly, for the most part, express it in America without fear of someone blowing up your car or, you know, trying to behead you just because of something that you believe in. So we have a culture of, I guess you could say, limited freedom, where we believe that you can believe whatever you want to believe, but as long as you don't step on my toes with your belief, right? So that's America. So, next.
Yeah,
Management style. So, pick this guy. You guys know he's our commander-in-chief right now. Some would argue great, poor businessman, but at the end of the day, he has very successful properties, and most of it is leased by his name. And I think that represents I think he's a great representation of management style in America. Obviously, once again, a million different styles available. Some are dictators, where, you know, he will do as I say, like in the military, right, whether I'm right or wrong. Then there's also a few awesome leaders that really care about their workers, that, you know, try to look after their best interests and still grow the company. And then there's a lot of people like Trump that are just like, hey, as long as we can make money, I don't really care whether it's legal, illegal, whether it's moral, immoral, as long as, you know, I'm making money, and at the end of the day, we're seeing profits grow. So I think Trump really embodies what you see across the board in America and a lot of industries, where the leader may not necessarily be really concerned about his workers or employees. He's just more so concerned about the bottom line. Whereas Cambodia, I showed this guy, the dictator, as you can see, caused the death of 25% of Cambodia. But
are you serious?
yeah, seriously.
He ordered them all killed.
Pol Pot, yeah.
Pol Pot.
Yeah, seriously.
The greatest genocide.
You thought Hitler was the only guy.
No.
You know, Pol Pot.
Is worse.
Yeah, he did it.
Really?
No, his own people.
Yeah, him,
He killed his own
Escobar.
people. The
Yeah,
killing fields.
those guys went hard
It's
in
on the
killing
show,
people.
Discovery.
But
I
that
wouldn't do
was more just to stimulate you. Truthfully,
Yeah, let's go.
Cambodia, it's more reserved as far as their management style goes. So you guys already said it. We like to avoid making people look bad. We call it saving face, right? So a lot more times it's going to be what the leader tells the team. But the other thing is there's not a lot of individual responsibility in public. And what I mean by that is you're not going to condemn someone like, hey, look, you know, Isaac, you screwed up, and you're not going to congratulate them in public either. You're not going to say, hey, guys, give Isaac a round of applause. He was #1 this quarter or whatever. It's more so the team. And even at the team level, they still sort of shy away from any type of praise or condemning. It's very much a couple or a culture where it's kind of like what we would consider walking on eggshells when it comes to like feelings, allowing people to save face, really. So just wanted to show a difference there. And then communication strategies. So Cambodia, we already talked about, you know, walking on eggshells. They do have the typical, you know, bow. There's a term for it. I can't pronounce it, but it's like, there's a term for it, for their greeting. And there it's based kind of like a old school America, where it's, you know, on age. You know, the older you are, typically the more respect that people have for you because you're an older person. And then talks about also where you go. So, you know, if you go to church or whatever they call that place of gathering for their religion, the religious leaders are always going to, obviously receive the respect. And then same thing at work, your managers, the bosses, they're going to have a certain level of respect. And that's just given just because of their position, right? And didn't really get into whether or not you like them or not, or whether you really respect them, but that's just kind of the culture that because you have that position, the people there are automatically going to respect you in that position. Whereas here in America, chose this picture because, well, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you can be the CEO and, some lady will throw milk on you because she doesn't like some policy that your corporation has, right? And that's how it goes. So whether you are CEO, president, or whether you're like some single mom that, spanks your kid, you have a voice because of the way America operates. So one of the easiest ways to get attention is just to say you were offended, right? That offended me, I was offended, and then all of a sudden everything has to stop and we have to, reconsider how we do business or how we conduct this or that to be sensitive to someone. So in America, even the smallest person, especially with the internet, social media, we really have a lot of power to influence people or to speak on certain issues. Whereas in Cambodia, that would just be unimagined, right? And I'll give you a prime example. Maybe we can't complain to Best Buy Corporation, the equipment sucks, you said you'd give me a refund, but you're doing me a running around, but then all of a sudden we could post a YouTube video, it gets 10,000 views, and all of a sudden Best Buy is calling us, right, to fix the problem. So we have that power with communication, not so much in Cambodia. So those are all the slides. I guess you could say solutions. Like everyone said, it's just communication, being sensitive. Obviously, us as Westerners, we would be the aggressor if they would say there's going to be an aggressor or someone that would be weaker, if you will. We would, as I think Westerners, would have to really tone back our aggressor because a lot of our communication strategies would be offensive in Cambodia, and not necessarily that we're trying to be offensive, but just our normal way of operation. Like I was saying, we treat a CEO the same way we might treat a janitor in certain organizations. Way we talk, way we communicate, and with dealing with a company or dealing with expanding into that market, we would really have to scale back and go, okay, let's make sure we train on the culture first. Let's make sure that we understand what are automatic red flags or what are, things that we normally do that would automatically be insulting or offensive to them, right? So, for example, things like asking where you're from, right? They say it's for foreigners because they all assume that they're from Cambodia somewhere. Asking too much questions about your family, things like that, off the bat because they don't know you. And then also understanding that because they're a culture of saving face, that sometimes, even though they're saying yes, they may not be willing to tell you no up front because they're just trying to save face, right? So I think it would be more on us as Americans to say, hey, in this relationship, we would be the aggressor. We would be the one more likely to offend them versus them offend us. So we would have to really sort of come in there with a more mild, meek manner, tone ourselves down so that we could learn and understand their culture, and then we would know how to adapt rather than trying to have them adapt to us, because I believe our freedom concepts would just kind of like blow their mind a little bit, So that would be my recommendation, is that us as Americans, we would just have to train like we are now and adapt, and then that would help the process. And then just us Americans, naturally, once we adapt and communicate, we would automatically introduce them to Western ideas, because that's what we do with the whole world anyway. So little by little, we would introduce concepts to them that they would be like, I like that, a woman in charge, love it, let's do it, right? So they would adopt those policies. But ultimately, I don't think that means that they would all of a sudden stop worshiping Buddha and Hinduism and, pick up a American flag and a cross or something. But I think certain things and ideas they would be a little more open to once they feel trust and comfortable with us. So that would be my recommendation. For
Very
citizens.
good. And we can learn as well. We can
Yeah.
learn how to read signs and
Body
it can
language.
body language and read hidden signs that are there. Okay, good job.